everybody to Reality Riffs podcast episode 9. That means season 11, episode 9 of Vanderpump Rules.
Mm-hmm.
And usually when I'm writing down, I always do hashtag Reality Riffs podcast episode 9. And then I write down VPR season 11 episode whatever. And I think to myself, already? Episode 6 already? Episode 8 already? And this time I wrote down episode 9. I go, yeah, it feels like episode 9. It feels like we've been doing this for 9 weeks, right?
Yeah, there's been a lot going on.
But I also think that might mean we're kind of sliding into a podcasting comfort zone where we're feeling better about it too. Yeah. I don't know because the episodes are getting better.
I'm starting to enjoy it.
You are?
More. Yeah. Not to the point, where I'm ready to turn in my pump card just yet. But
your pump card. But that makes me so happy. No, it really, I was telling you this earlier in the week, but whenever I see Vanderpump news or I hear something about Vanderpump, I have somebody to run and talk to. It's so fun because I know you're going to care now. Because I used to run and talk to you, but it was just talking to a brick wall because you were nice enough to pretend to listen.
I think I smiled and...
Oh, no, you are the perfect pretend listener because you're able to respond properly, but I don't think you listen. I think you're able to tune it out and listen to your own thoughts.
I think, those of us men who get good at this skill listen for key words and phrases that we can use for context to gauge our response.
Is that what you do?
And I think I'm pretty good at it.
You're really good at it.
Yeah. Well,
because
I don't think most men are, and they give the rest of us a bad name.
Well, the only time I can tell you do it is when you forget to pick up something important or you forget something important that I said. And I'm like, I know you were acknowledging me. You were there. I mean, you gave me the right. So, I mean, maybe you're a little too good sometimes.
Well,
but yeah, you get caught sometimes, but only
I can listen to you and be planning a lesson plan in my head while I'm listening to you talk.
Yeah, and I don't know how you can drown me out because when I go back and listen to our episodes to timestamp things, my voice is almost as unbearable to myself as Sheena's voice is to my brain.
Oh no. Sheena is a
nails on a chalkboard.
Succubus, man. Like it's just like a harpy is.
And I don't know if it's. Oh, I'm back on the Sheena haterade train after this episode. We'll get there, but I mean, that's what I'm wondering. Is it what she's saying or is it her voice? And I think it's both. And today I'm very nasally. I can't get over this head stuff.
Yeah, well, I think it's that time of year.
It is, but it's been 9 weeks of it. I have it recorded.
There's snow on the ground.
Yeah, so once we get an audience, just get ready for one of the most beautiful voices you've ever heard. It's coming back.
I'm going to start using my radio voice.
And I'm going to get one.
All right.
Okay, anyway, should we get into it?
Let's get into it.
Okay. Oh gosh. Here, let me get on the right page. I'm sorry. Okay. Duh. Okay, so it was called, oh, and I liked the title. I can't say it without singing it in my head.
Well, let's sing it then.
It's not singing, but it like has a little rhythm.
It's got a tune.
It has a kiss, kiss, revenge, bang. I don't know why, but it's like kiss, kiss, revenge, bang. That's what I was wondering too. I was like, is it a revenge bang? Like, does someone? And then, but I like the kiss, kiss. Okay. Anyway, Schwartz. Oh, and if you go and okay, the YouTube descriptors versus the Peacock descriptors are much different. Peacock gives you like one sentence. I read you know me, I'm long-winded, so let's go with the YouTube. Schwartz makes a startling revelation to Lala about a past hookup that sends Katie spiraling. James hosts a DJ night at Hotel Ziggy. Ariana and Katie encounter new issues in opening their sandwich shop. Brock drops a bombshell about a recent liaison.
So you were like, you were like, there's not enough Brock in this episode for me, but I think there was plenty of freaking Brock.
Well, like, no, and then when I watched the back half with you again, I did because I only took notes up to the first like 6-ish scenes, but even now reading this this descriptor, how he has a DJ night at Hotel Ziggy, that was one of my thoughts by the second viewing. Were they sponsored by Hotel Ziggy? Because if you go back and watch, and just like now that I've brought it up, you will notice they say it so many times. I wish I had a Hotel Ziggy count.
I imagine that these businesses will host this show, you know, for promotional purposes.
It's great, especially this season.
I mean, I would if I had a business in LA and, you know, that kind of
definitely
demographic, right? Like I would want those.
Because I wonder if it's hard to find places that will allow you to film. Because sometimes it might not be worth it to them to lose revenue in order to close down part of it. Because I mean, I think production takes up a lot of space.
Oh yeah.
Because I noticed when he was DJing, it looked empty.
Well, it
looked like a malt shop. It was brightly lit.
It's an elaborate commercial, right? It's not like they're, they might lose out on some business that one night, but it's an elaborate commercial.
Yeah, but if you're talking about like the Viper Room, or, you know, I don't know if the Viper Room is still a cool place that I'm showing my age, but like, you know, some place that's small and I don't know. I think a lot of places would benefit from it, but some places.
The problem is though, is then you're attached to the show in
exactly.
some way, right? And you never know what kind of risk that could be going forward. You know, somebody all of a sudden, you know, somebody on the show has, you know, written something racist in their Venmo comments. You know what I mean? Like, and
I can't even imagine Lisa Vanderpump's damage control team, because between the people she's had to fire on account of what they said to the things that have and I'm doing a rewatch. Holy crap, the stuff that happened and the things that were said in season 1 would not fly these days, I do not think. But it's still entertaining as shit. I can't help myself. Anyway, basically we start, and James has become Allie's
let me say something first, because that's one of the things. So I looking at the recap, you know, just starting with the recap.
Oh yeah.
Right. So we're gonna start with basically they're setting up 3 main storylines, right? In the story. We start out with Ariana talking about the house buyout, right? So we know that that's going to come up in the episode. Then we get to Schwartz and Joe and sort of how Allie's mediating that
Right.
relationship a little bit. And then of course Joe being totally friend zoned for the most part, right?
I know.
And then Schwartz, alluding to, and in my notes, he's now Shiz. So
What?
yeah,
That's
yeah.
good.
So Shiz and it's Shiz and Sam because I don't want to say their names too much.
I'll get on board
Especially
with
him.
Shiz
But
because I like Schwartz.
Shiz is talking about being a
Shiz and
makeout slut.
Sandy.
And
That's what they used to call him, was
yeah.
the makeout slut.
And then we get to a montage of Tom's ego and fighting with everybody, and then Schwartz telling him that he looks like shit, and it's time
Oh,
to
the
heal.
Scott Peterson reference. They showed that again. Are you talking the recap stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and then we go
Allegedly.
So we're set up with those sort of like those things are kind of highlighted. So then we start with James and Allie.
Yeah, but I loved it because James has become like a personal shopper / assistant for Allie. And he looked so happy when he was in Allie's closet, proudly showing off outfits.
Mm-hmm.
It was so funny. And I was just like, are they trolling him by having him in the closet? Because they've always made gay type of references for James.
Okay, well, that's what was my thought was, it's
because even
so
Rachel
cute,
was
right?
supposed to supposedly his beard for the longest time.
Yeah, like I felt
like they were trolling him.
Well, yeah, I felt for a long time that James was kind of gay.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't doubt if he was fluid. He's never come out, but I think he's attracted to women too. I mean, I think I can see, why you would. Well, he's very flamboyant for sure, and but they were being super kind about Joe because James asked Allie, "Did you invite Joe?" And Allie was like, "Yeah, she says some weird things." I've yet and I guess because I watched the after show last week, and I guess we're gonna see more Joe. And maybe I'll understand, but I will never understand mean girl behavior, especially past the age of 12. Well, or maybe 16, I guess. But I grew out of it after junior high. I can see gossiping with your friends in private, but yeah, we'll get there. But anyway, I think that
he's a leg humper.
yeah, oh yeah, and I found myself saying, I'm so confused. This episode could have been, I'm so confused because when they're talking about how the girls don't really like Joe, or she says weird things, and I go to in my notes, I'm still confused why people hate Joe.
Yeah, I am too.
This was my first time, but there's a lot of places where I'm confused. But yeah, I haven't seen it. Has she annoyed you yet?
No, but then again, I know lots of people like Joe. You know what I mean?
You're looking at her.
Well,
I think I'm a lot like Joe, and
I married Joe.
Yeah, I married Shiz.
Yeah. But but it's also kind of like,
you got to admit you're Schwartz, little bit.
Oh, sure.
And he in a good way.
Well, but the thing, and I guess here's one of the things why, when I think about just sort of reality TV.
Hey, and it took us forever to get together. I think they're gonna be happy. Yeah, me too. So far.
But no, I totally lost my train of thought.
Oh, I'm sorry. I said I was confused why people hate Joe.
Oh yeah, no, I think I think this is one of the things where I get kind of turned off by reality TV, right? Is the people depicted or at least the way that they're depicted in reality TV is very high schoolish. And I deal with that shit every single day. You know what I mean? Like I have to navigate, kids through mean girl behavior and that kind of bullying bullshit all the fucking time. And I'm looking at grown adults. And then you're wondering why are kids bullied at school? Well, those people
Yep.
have that age that act like that, have kids in high school right now.
And devil's advocate on behalf of production, they can't show what you don't give them. You know?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
And anyways, so we go to Tom's house, and you might have to take it from here because all I have written in capital letters is no, not Billy. Oh, and she says, and then I have, I'm gonna bring my girl tea.
Oh yeah, so I think this is where you got confused. You thought T was, and
Well,
I did
because
too
she
at
said it
first.
so fast because she looks at him real quick, like, are you jealous? That's the look it came off to me. Like she was trying to
Well,
make Tom jealous because she.
I didn't really understand what was going on because I didn't know what her relationship to T was and what my girl meant. But
Well, when she
so
came,
then,
but time out. I guess I got ahead of ourselves. She came in the door.
mm,
She's like, I'm always so nervous to come because when Scandival first broke out, she was like, and Ariana was real sweet too because the internet came after her because she was at Sandoval's house when Ariana wasn't.
mm,
And Ariana's like, no, lay off of Billy Lee. I was out of town. She was walking Maya for me.
mm.
And she was still friends with Sandoval, but now she's like, I get scared every time I come over. And he's like, why? You don't want to run into my roommate? It's like, she's, that's why
Yeah.
I think she's in love with Sandoval. I do.
Well,
Like, she thinks,
I don't know.
and I don't, and now that I heard that, and now that rumor about him cheating on Ariana with Billy Lee, I mean, let's talk about that maybe. Like Lala said at the reunion, why did that die? Let's talk about that. And like
Mm,
still, but anyway, that came up. And so I was like, you're a shitty friend to Ariana.
well, I mean, Billy Lee is obviously taking sides, but I think in this scene, I agreed a lot with what Billy Lee had to say, right?
Yeah, I know. I hated that when
Because, well, and because she's trying to, well, first she comes in and she tries to. I was confused about that whole, my girl T's going to be there,
yeah, she
and
just so fast and then
well, no, but then Tom's like, and I didn't really understand what she was talking about, and then Tom's like, yeah, and I just washed my sheets, and then so I was thinking, are they gonna have a threesome? Like that was
I
my first
know.
thought.
Well, Billy
But then,
perked up like, is that an invitation or like
well, no, and then I think that then I realized, okay, no, she's just trying to hook Tom up with this T girl.
and see, that was my second I'm so confused moment because last episode I thought when she introduced Tom to T, I thought she said my girlfriend.
Hmm.
I didn't know she said, did she just
Well,
say
she might
my
have said
girl?
girlfriend as in like girlfriend. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess, but I thought I thought her tone was more
Hmm.
like my girlfriend,
Yeah.
like my significant other.
Yeah, but the point,
And yeah, so that's why I was
yeah.
confused in this scene. And later on, when they were dating, I was so
Hmm.
confused because I kind of let it slide. I was too busy when he said that when they started talking about the house.
Well, yeah, because that's the thing, right? Because
And so that's where I got
well,
focused on.
that's where they started, right? Because he's like, oh yeah, I just changed my sheets, and then she kind of rolls her eyes, kind of like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
And
if you didn't live with your ex girlfriend, right? And Tom's like, everybody's got roommates,
I
and
know.
and then and I think that I
Well,
really understand like Billy Lee's frustration, right? Because I'm totally like, what the fuck is the deal with this house? Like
yeah.
honestly, why are you people still living together? It's disgusting.
Well, but then, okay, so Tom says the ball's in Ariana's court.
Mm-hmm.
Out, and then in the confessional, he says, I'm willing to write her a check free and clear. And I'm like, yeah, I could write her a check too. It's gonna bounce, but I could write it. Same
Well,
story with him. And he has been
yeah, but you
talking
don't
how
know
he's
that. You
broke.
don't know his financial
He
situation.
told Tom Schwartz, I'm sorry I left Schwartz and Sandy's shitstorm with you, but I had to go on tour because I was negative in my bank account.
I don't believe a word that dude.
He had to borrow $250,000 from his mother to open Schwartz and Sandy. Still hasn't paid her back.
Well, all I'm saying.
No, if I were Ariana, I wouldn't trust him saying I can buy me out. That's what I'm saying. You don't believe a word that comes out of his mouth? Neither do I, neither does Ariana. Sorry. What are you saying? Please tell me.
I don't believe a word that comes out of his mouth on the show.
Right.
But if his lawyer is reaching out to her with an offer, he has some sort of backing. I don't know. He could be borrowing it from his mom. He could be sucking dick in a fucking alley. I don't know. What I do know is he must have something if he's gone that far.
Okay, but what can I tell you what Ariana said on one of the after shows? With what he offered her, she would walk away with pretty much zero after paying the taxes and what she put into it, because she put the down payment down, and every payment she's put in since, like what he was offering her, by the time she was out of it and they had signed everything, she wouldn't have had a dime to buy another home, and he'd be sitting pretty in that house, owning it just himself. But now she is in her own house. Congratulations, Ariana. Your house is beautiful. If you do listen, congratulations. And up until the later scene, I was starting to come around on Tom. So anytime I seem to be coming around on Tom, FYI, just so I don't forget to tell you, just say Maya, and I will snap right back into Tom, you that fucking guy. What do you call him? Oh, I call him Sandoval or Sandy, but you had Shiz. I like that for Schwartz. I know. Okay. So I was all over the place. Your notes are, I don't know. How about we let, do you want to take over for this episode? I got the notes if you don't, but if you do, I'll let you. It might be fun.
Sure. Well, then we go from there. Oh yeah, that was the other thing too. Is Billy Lee was like, once he's like, I don't know how to talk to Ariana, and Billy Lee's like, well, maybe just go knock on her door. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's just kind of like, oh yeah, like the adults would do. Ding ding ding. And I think so. I definitely was feeling Billy Lee in this scene. So,
well, when Tom goes, what's worse, your ex-wife or your mom? Billy Lee and I at the same exact time said, your ex.
How fucking stupid do you have to be to ask that question?
Your ex or your... Yeah, no shit. I'm not taking a guy home. If you and I got a divorce, I'm not bringing a guy back to this house if we're sharing it. If I'm at my mom's, like, whatever. I mean...
Like, if we're divorced and I'm just like, all right, I'm going to stay down in the basement and you stay up here. And I text Piper and being like, is mom around? No, she just stepped out for a little bit. Okay, I'm going to come up and make a sandwich.
Oh, yeah, I would go on dates, but I would never... Oh, you mean to have a liaison?
Mm-hmm. If we're in that situation, right? And then I'm like, I text Piper and I'm like, is mom
or
here?
Not
and
a liaison,
like,
but I mean a go-between?
Like, yeah, she's got her friend. They're watching a movie in the bedroom.
Oh, my God.
Like,
can you imagine? That would be so traumatic for children.
Unfortunately, poor Anne. Hashtag save Anne. That's where we
Save
get. That's because
Anne.
that's where we go to. Nice segue. Because then we go
Yes.
to Ariana talking to Anne. And Anne's going to the Taylor Swift concert, and she's really excited about that.
She is the happiest person ever.
Yes.
Like ever. Because I remember I made that Are You There, God? It's Me, Anne cover art for our last podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking for an annoyed face or any face of Anne, a serious face. No, she's smiling in any single picture you could find. I could probably have gone and taken a screenshot, but I didn't care to because she's cute when she's smiling. But I did listen to her podcast. Apparently, she was on mushrooms and had a few drinks when she was on that call. She's like, yeah, sorry, Mom, but I was on mushrooms. They make me feel extra lovey-dovey. And I already love Ariana. Like, I like listening to her podcast. She's just as happy on her podcast as she is in real life. Or I mean on the show. Anyway,
Well, yeah, then she kind of sort of ish offers Anne an assistant job. Like she says she's looking for an assistant. I don't know, I mean, basically.
Well, yeah, because she comes from like a office.
Agency.
Yeah, an
something.
agent. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for.
So then, yeah, but so she wants, of course, Anne wants to be in the running to be Ariana's assistant. And, because Ariana's like, she needs a better boss than my dipshit ex-boyfriend. She's like, so hashtag save Anne. So I don't know, is that picked up at all?
How awkward would that be if she were Ariana's assistant? Like she would have to still go to, I don't know, because I don't think so. I don't think she is Ariana's assistant.
Maybe
because
yeah, I mean, there would probably be some conflict of interest for Anne to just kind of, in that situation, just kind of switch sides, right? But then again, you might also look at it and be like, she might be the best if she didn't want to work necessarily for Tom anymore. She's like, I don't mind going between these two, but I'm tired of cleaning up the fucking parties. You know what I mean?
Oh, you know what? Okay, so I don't. Okay, so I did watch, like, I don't know, 20 minutes, not even, of Sandoval's podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Tom Schwartz was going to have his brother on. I didn't watch that yet.
Mm-hmm.
So, the very beginning of it, and they talked about that Jason asked if he knew about that scene, and Tom's like, no, I had no idea about that scene. I wish. He's like, I actually got Anne the tickets to those Taylor Swift concerts. My friend Kyle Chan, who's on the show with me, he actually did the jewelry for Taylor Swift's tour. And there's these certain earrings in one of the videos. I don't remember which one he said, but he got those earrings and gave them to Anne. And so Anne was wearing those earrings to Taylor Swift concert. And when she said that she was going to the Taylor Swift concert, I kind of wondered if Sandoval got those tickets for her, and he said, and she was so happy. He goes, it brings me such joy to do those kinds of, and I'm like, yep, I knew it. Because it does bring him such joy. Why else would you spend 25 grand on somebody else's engagement? It wasn't, he and James weren't that close. They were close, but
I think it's because he's like that shop owner in Needful Things.
Once you take a favor from him, you owe him.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I know someone like that. I'm not going to mention, just in case they listen to the podcast. They would never know who it was if they did, and I don't think they would ever.
Don't see themselves like that, right?
Right.
It's a narcissistic sort of trait,
right? And they would never be listening to the podcast. But no, it's,
they believe like
But
I
I
think
mean, that is hella nice.
yeah, it is
That's a
hell.
nice perk from a boss.
Yeah.
Let's give Tom a little credit, even if it is self gratification.
Mm,
Thank you. I would Taylor Swift concert and the earrings she wore in a video for that, Piper could live off that for the
mm.
rest of her life,
Oh yeah.
probably. Ah, because I bet, well, no, I bet Tom got the tickets from Kyle Chan with the
Oh yeah.
earrings.
Yeah,
But
Tom probably just he was just brokered sort of, a gift.
yeah, because yeah, if he was able to get the tickets, I'm sure.
Okay,
I
so
mean,
that kind of sets everything up. We're gonna move now to Shiz and Lala.
yep, Tom
Are
and
at
Lala.
Creation Organic injecting weird shit into their mouths with syringes because I'd swear it's just
Yeah, what was in that? What's that? I have that. What's in the syringe?
whatever you inject into yourself when you're on a sobriety bender. So because
Sobriety bender. That's right.
yeah, so we're on a sobriety bender for shiz. It's all about moderation, moderation, moderation. I
And
don't know. It sounded like I think it's just kind of like a smoothie sort of.
yeah, that's what it was. Just smoothies. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was good. Looked good. But then when they're outside, you know what I love about the
mm,
relationship between Tom and Lala is you have Tom, this meek, doesn't really stand up for himself kind of guy, and Lala is all bark. She
mm,
stands up. Well, she'll stand up for herself. She'll stand up for who's being picked on. Like,
mm,
I think they make a fun little duo. And so this is the first time seeing them conversate about something not I loved this episode because we're getting
yeah.
away,
Well,
and I knew we would eventually get away from Scandival, but
it took 9
it's
episodes
so
to do it.
it's so nice to be able
Yeah.
to have an episode where that's just kind of the background instead of the foreground,
Yeah.
because it's setting up other people's lives. I'm like I said, I know what happened surrounding Scandival. Maybe not everything, maybe they'll show us something new, but we don't know really what, because I didn't submerge myself into everyone else's lives at all.
Yeah.
And so, like, all I know is things pertaining to Scandival. So this is refreshing.
Well, yeah.
And I'm trying to stay away from social media so I can keep our podcast as pure as possible
Well,
to my own feelings, because sometimes it's easy to change my mind.
oh, Sheena's a flip flop. I mean, Jess
I
is
know
a flip flopper.
I'm not I'm not as bad as Sheena. My God.
Well, anyways, they're in there. They're talking about their benders, and then
Well, the look on Lala's face is like mine. Confused.
yeah. Well,
What
first,
he's talking about.
yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what I was thinking. I was like, this sounds insane. Like that's what I wrote down. Sounds insane. Yeah. Sometimes I just like to get really spiritual and get enlightened for a few weeks and then hit rock bottom again. It's kind of what it sounds like he's saying. So it's
But
just
in a
like,
good way, or in a healthy way. Where he's like,
all moderation.
she goes, "Have you ever had sober sex?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, I love sober sex. Everything in moderation. Sometimes it's good to have drugs and alcohol, and then sometimes it's good to be sober. Like we're doing now." It's like, Schwartz, do you know how to connect with anyone on a sober level? He's learning.
I think he sounds high as shit.
No, this is Schwartz at his.
Yeah. Anyway, so he recaps Jack's visit to Tom.
Oh yeah, didn't Lala say, "How did you think that was gonna go?"
It's not that they hate each other. It's like it's not because.
Oh, they kind of do.
But then
There's
they kind of
so
show
much alike.
they show them hugging it out. Did they show that in last week's episode? Like when they were talking and like when Jax is like, well, I hope everything's are good, and they kind of hugged it out. Like I don't remember seeing that in last week's episode.
No, but on the Sandoval thing, I kind of heard because I was sculpting clay with Tony. Jason said something about Jackson, so my ears perked up. He's like, he came in hot, and Sandoval was like, so hot. What you see is nothing. He went on and on and on for like 20 minutes, and then he asked, Jason's like, well, where's the relationship now? And he's like, honestly, it's probably better than it's been in so many years. So they must have hugged it out. I don't really remember being a resolution, but I don't, like I wasn't.
Well, but back. I think, but that last week was all about getting you to.
My pulse was racing so fast, and like I was so overjoyed. Like I didn't know I missed Jack until he started calling Sandoval out on his shit in a way that nobody else was. Everyone else was tiptoeing around it or saying, you owe an apology. And Jax is just like, everyone was talking shit about you. Just take some accountability. I know I'm a piece of shit, but I take accountability.
Yeah, that's all I got to say is like,
that was so funny because Jax is a piece of shit, but it's funny the way those two fight.
Okay.
But that, and then the look on Schwartz. But anyway, this episode, I don't remember them talking about.
Yeah, they talked a little bit about that. They kind of showed it, because then Schwartz is talking about. Talking about everybody owning their shit and stuff. So I just think I need to, just kind of, I've even fucked up. I remember, making out with Sheena in Vegas or whatever. And
I was like, whoa.
Yeah. And so I see, and I don't know how to
rewind.
respond to this because I'm not.
No, I went back the 10 seconds. I said, what?
Yeah. I just see Lala's reaction. I'm like, oh, this is a big freaking deal.
No, like my jaw dropped and I like sucked in air for a really long time. It took me a while to like, what? So I had to rewind and it was so quick.
So then all of a sudden.
And again, I'm Lala. That look on her face.
Yeah, I don't know. Because
okay.
Schwartz was not expecting that reaction though. So I don't know what Schwartz expected.
Can I tell you what I kind of thought after sitting with it? Was I'm kind of wondering because okay, this group cannot hold a secret. They hold this with the two biggest gossips involved. Did Lisa offer these two a little extra bonus cash to say this to take the heat off of Sandoval? Well, like, because those two would. Those are Sheena will do anything and Tom will do anything to keep this train a-moving.
Well, and I think that's something we need to talk more about once we get to the end of the episode because there's a lot of that just seems a little convenient.
Right, that's what I was thinking.
I would say.
I came to that thought later on in the episode when Sheena was blabbing because Sheena can't keep a secret it's just not in her.
Yeah.
Because she rambles and it comes out. And I just can't imagine because Tom Schwartz is a makeout slut. We know that. And Katie has known about other times. It just feels so convenient. Unless Lala makes Schwartz feel comfortable in a different way than anyone else and he just kind of went vulnerable.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It
But
felt
then,
forced too, right? Like
but didn't he say that he and Sheena even talked about it this?
they were saying they were joking about it.
Yeah.
They're, you know, it's
Or is
something that
that
they joke
later?
about.
Yeah.
And and that's kind of when Lala was like, "Oh, you guys crack jokes about this, right?" And
Yeah.
so,
This is a
um,
thing.
yeah, and so they asked, she asked him like, when did it happen? Oh, it's no big deal, and you see Lala going from being shocked to being pissed, right? And then she's like, "Well, when did this happen?" He's like, "I don't know." She's like, "Were you guys married?" And she's like, "Well, no, before the wedding, like it was."
It was around the time Sheena and Shay got
Mm,
engaged, which would have been season 3 or 4.
mm,
So Katie and Tom were well established. Sheena and Shay were well established if she was about to be engaged.
well, we
And the fact that they find that if anyone thinks that Katie is ridiculous for getting mad about this, fuck them. You know why? Sheena is such a goddamn hypocrite. She gets so mad because Tom hid an affair for 7 or 8 months. She hid that for what, 12 fucking years?
mm-hmm.
It's a makeout. And if they weren't divorced, they would still think about, I don't know, since Katie is so cold, people aren't as
Mm,
nice to her. I I don't even, I am pretty neutral on Katie. Like sometimes I am totally team Katie and sometimes I'm like, be more likable.
well,
And
she's very blunt, so you either agree
yeah.
with what she says or you don't. You
And
know what I
even if
mean?
you
But
do,
there's not
you
a lot
may
of
not agree with the way she goes about it,
yeah.
but like I understand why she's hurt. The man that she was in love with at that time, and that could have changed her whole life.
Mm-hmm.
She may have chose not to marry him. We'll get there. Sorry,
Yeah.
this is I hate Sheena again episode for me. That's why I said no. I was saying there, what I said, there isn't enough Brock in
Mm-hmm.
this world to make me like
Mm.
Sheena in this episode. I didn't mean, but when you said, I said that there wasn't enough Brock in this episode. No, there isn't enough Brock in this world to make Sheena likable to me in this episode.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well,
take her away.
all right. Well, then we move on. We get Lala and Katie, so it's like, oh shit, here we go. We're
Oh,
gonna
and
jump
she
right
just
into it.
jumps right in. She goes, "You may care,
What?
you may not care."
Well,
And I'm like,
my question was Lala drinking booze?
that's exactly what I had
Was she
written
drinking
down.
champagne?
Like a Prosecco, because she said, Mama doesn't have the baby tonight.
Yeah.
And she popped
And
open.
then
I know they're into their non alcoholic stuff, but the non alcoholic, you don't have to wait for a babysitter to drink non alcoholic booze and
yeah.
be fine around your child. I had that same note.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's interesting. I don't know.
Yeah, because Katie was making herself a cocktail.
Especially, somebody who's very, those people who get into getting sober.
Mm-hmm. I
And
don't
it
think
all,
she's too preachy.
well, I'm not saying she's too preachy, but she is a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, but I mean, she's also in an environment where she's surrounded by freaking booze and fucking alcoholics all the time.
And she knows what can
Yeah.
happen when she drinks.
Yeah. So anyway,
And she also knows what happens when James drinks versus when he doesn't. And so she will preach to the ones that need to be preached to more than any. But yeah, I had that same thing because I thought she was fully sober, because she'll poke at the California sober type of mentality. Yeah, okay, great. So I'm confused.
Yeah, like, I mean, well, then again, I mean, I was going to say, well, look at the way she reacted to Schwartz. But then again, everybody, like I did too, like Shiz is sitting there talking about moderation and going on benders. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I don't.
Benders are not moderation.
No.
Like, that's not.
She and What does
I
that
mean,
have to do with sober sex?
he sounded high as fucking shit. Like he was still high and hadn't slept.
Oh, Schwartz is notorious for word salading things. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
It's just like, okay.
You know, he's a smart individual. And so he can use big words and get away with, you know, just talking in circles with his big words or something. And the rest of the cast is like, okay, I know exactly what you mean.
Well, anyways, Lala talks about how, you know, in her confessional, how she, after Schwartz told her, she kind of went back and forth whether or not should she confront Sheena first or should she talk to Katie.
She made the right decision.
Yeah, she absolutely made the right choice. This is Katie's, you know, lion to hunt. So
yes, good way to say that.
And so, you know, so then she basically, you know, drops that bomb on Katie.
Word for word, she goes, "You may care, you may not care." I wrote, "Bitch, this is Katie. She's gonna care."
Mm-hmm.
I would care.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's kind of one of those. I was actually.
It'd be like if I found out you made out with Megan the last time, you know, like 4 years ago when she and Damien stayed with us. And then even if you and I had gotten a divorce, you and I get a divorce, like,
and then you find out later.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be shitty. But yeah, I was just thinking, but it's also like
it's so fucking hypocritical of Sheena.
Well, but just that whole you might care, you might not care. I was reading about this yesterday in one of my literary terms books. And I can't remember the Greek name for it because I just glanced over it. But anyways, it was like that preparatory, like get ready for some bad news kind of thing. Kind of like
they preface everything.
Yeah, so basically Lala.
But Lala really didn't.
Yeah, Lala is basically, you know.
I'm going to tell you something bad. Brace yourself.
Yeah. He's basically, you know, Bernardo showing up to talk to Romeo, you know, and being like, "So how's my Juliet?" "Oh, she is at, you know, she's at peace."
Oh.
Nothing can be wrong.
For her.
Mm-hmm. Anyways, so
yeah, they totally should have had that plan a little more nailed down.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have taken more than, I don't know, a couple hours.
Yeah.
They all could have had a little powwow and nobody would have had to die, but then it wouldn't have been a tragedy, would it?
We never would have heard about it.
I love Romeo and Juliet.
But anyways, so Katie kind of gets shocked and she's kind of like, I got so many questions. And then she starts putting together, you know, 2 + 2. And she's like, okay, this is this time in Vegas. And Sheena had talked about Schwartz had made out with her friend and, you know.
So, yeah, and Sheena told her that Schwartz had made out. I think Sheena was the one that told her that Schwartz had made out with her friend. I can't remember. I'll have to go back and do that.
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't, actually. I was expecting you to go back to like season 3 and being like, what the hell?
No, I'm starting with 1 because I got sucked in. I wasn't gonna, and then I watched the pilot, and I got sucked. I was like, God damn, this is good. You know, it was so good, but it's getting good again. You can tell I'm getting passionate again. Yeah. Okay, so let's get this train a moving. So everyone is getting together.
Straight to the party.
Yeah, and they are. So this must be this isn't Hotel Ziggy. This is just.
No, this is Hotel Ziggy.
This is the Hotel Ziggy.
This is DJ James Kennedy. You know, gonna rock the house.
Okay, because I know they have another. Okay, so Hotel Ziggy, and again, I think that they're probably sponsored.
Yeah.
Okay, so everyone's getting together and walking in the door. I noticed when Ariana walked in, remember how last week I said Tom hates her? Did you see the way he looked at her? He gave her death glares again all the way. And then he's like, yeah, Ariana looks great. Great dress.
Yeah.
Ah, and then, like, at now knowing that if it truly did happen, Schwartz and Sheena, the makeout,
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering, is Sheena still carrying a little bit of a torch for Tom Schwartz? Because she's being so mean to Joe, and she's like, why don't they just admit they're dating? What? And it's like, why does it affect you?
Well, that's
You know,
yeah. I don't.
is that where it was? Where she was,
Yeah. Well, this
because
is
they came in together, didn't they?
yeah, and
And
then
so that's what I thought. I was like, and then they take her hat off.
yeah, then they start messing with her for wearing her hat, and they're just being straight up fucking bitches, man. Like
Oh my
it was
God. I grew out of this by junior high.
yeah,
Like, so did the other girls, thank God, in my class.
right, and so they're just and Joe is really uncomfortable. You could tell she's not into that girly girl shit. She's not one of those kind of girls.
No.
You know what I mean?
And the thing is, I didn't think Ariana was. Like, this is bringing out the worst in her, too. And so, like, and is this where she says that we shouldn't feel bad for her because she spent
Oh,
Easter?
yeah, she spent Easter at my house, and
Well, when, anyway, in her confession, when she said she spent Easter in her house knowing that Raquel had been with her boyfriend, Tom Sandoval,
mm-hmm.
I was like, is that it? Because I don't hate Schwartz.
Yeah. Well,
So you give me a better fucking reason to hate Joe right now.
well, yeah, and even if that's the case, because
And if
yeah,
she is annoying, she doesn't deserve what she's getting. So what if she's a hairdresser? I said that on this
well, yeah,
podcast,
she's an hairdresser. Why does
but
she show off her hair? Like,
not in a mean girl way. I was
yeah.
just like, she's not represented. But I would never say that to her face or be mean to her or steal her hat, because do you know how many times
Why
I've
does
put
she
a
have to?
no, I've put on a hat more times than I can
Mm.
count to cover up a bad hair day if I have to go out in public real quick.
Yeah, it was totally plastics bullshit, man.
Oh,
Like,
total Regina George. All of them wanted. Oh God, and
yeah, but that's the thing
it
because
wasn't a good look.
yeah, because they were ripping on her for wearing her hat. They're just ripping on her for everything. Like,
Everything.
I mean, just the worst parts of humanity just coming out of these fucking bitches, and then it's just like
They
what?
they
Yeah,
made
they
her
made the poor girl cry.
cry
Like, yeah, like
and leave. Like I would have too.
Allie tries to
Like
tell him and be like, hey, like, she's trying to,
she's a little different, but
she's trying to, come in peace or whatever. And then they were talking shit. And basically, yeah, Ariana's whole argument was, well, she knew that Tom and Raquel were having an affair, so that means I can, treat her like shit, basically.
yeah. And other people have thrown around words like crazy or psycho, but they've given me zero example.
She's a little too Midwestern, maybe. A little
Me?
too. Well, yeah, she's a little too hokey. She's not very, she's not very cosmopolitan. She's not very sophisticated. She's not gonna go for a water tasting.
Well, I don't know, but it was out of pocket for Lala, who usually, you know, is nice to was Lala was there shit talking, wasn't she?
Oh yeah,
Or
they
at
all
least
were.
she was there, and
She wasn't
Ariana,
sticking up for Joe the way she would stick up for even frickin' Sandoval.
no.
You know what I mean? So
But then we cut to Tom Sandoval, and he is so awkward around Billy's girlfriend. You know, it's
mm,
like because Billy's trying to, or
or the
her,
flashback.
yeah. I thought, didn't you think?
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't know. I just have Sheena's voice is like nails on a chalkboard. You're gonna have to take that scene because that's all I could think. I hated Sheena. I wanted to choke her out and shut
Oh,
her up.
when well, I noticed right away, like when Katie first confronted her. One, that Katie was fucking shit hammered. So I mean,
Oh
holy
yeah,
fuck,
she was so drunk. I
she was
love,
fucking
but she held her shit
yeah.
together. It isn't like
And
old time tequila Katie.
I was kind of looking at it and I was thinking that looks like a gin and tonic with lime in it.
Yeah.
I could go for one of those. But anyways, so yeah, she confronts her about it, and Sheena right away, like I could like she wanted her flight was in like she wanted to fucking run.
She's like, what do you mean?
Yeah, she was just
Well, and I felt
you could
bad.
see the wheels turning. Like you can, and I don't know. Katie was probably drunk,
But
so she couldn't.
also, I felt bad for Katie because she didn't know how to approach this subject.
Right.
Because she didn't know how to say, I am hurt without it being ridiculous, without it being like, what's the big deal? You guys are divorced. Or, like
Right.
someone's, because I would be afraid someone was going to say something stupid like that.
Well, yeah, and it's not only that. It's like
And it
you're
was
my friend. I trust you. Like if something like that ever happened, I would expect you would tell me, right? Like
And then Sheena's like in our confessional, this is Katie Maloney we're talking about. She would have got so mad at me. Of course I didn't tell her. And it was like, that's why Schwartz and Joe didn't tell Ariana, maybe?
yeah, and
Like,
yeah, so you didn't want to have a confrontation about the fucked up thing you did?
I'm so confused.
You're right. You shouldn't have to have a fucked up conversation.
Yeah,
About,
Sheena, you should get off.
About something fucked up that you did. You're
Oh, by
right,
the way,
Sheena.
I decided.
When is this gonna? When are we gonna think about Sheena's feelings?
Yeah, when? And she did a podcast circuit last week because I listened to some podcast after. Oh my God, she was on. Oh my God.
So I'm pretty sure that's kind of all that happens in that scene. Because then we go to the next day when we got Lala, DJ James Kennedy, Shiz.
Oh wait.
And then Tom shows up later.
What didn't Lala and Katie and Ariana go sit down to talk? And then that's when Tom asks if Ariana got the email.
No, it was before. It was before they were talking that he went and asked about the email. So I got it written down in order here.
So when did that happen? Did I pass it?
What? Tom asking about the email?
Yeah.
No, we were talking about it because we wanted him to have a fight and Ariana push him into the swimming pool.
He was on pause.
Oh, were we? I can't remember.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure we talked about it.
Okay, so but when when Tom came up to Ariana to talk, I forgot to make this point. It's really funny to watch. Remember how I told you from the affair to the cover up to the things that he said and Rachel said? It was pretty scripted.
Mm-hmm.
From the little affair that he and Ariana had. Like it was all going in the same way, sort of.
Mm-hmm.
Except this way. And you don't really know because you didn't watch the past seasons. But when he broke up with Kristen, he couldn't escape her. She became crazy Kristen's stalker. I want you back. We're meant to be. We're going to have
babies.
Dark-haired, blue-eyed babies. And he was with Ariana at the time. He couldn't get away. To now they broke up and he gets blocked by Rachel and now he's physically in person blocked by Ariana. She just puts him on block and turns her face.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
he talks. She makes no move. It's brilliant.
Yeah, you
It's
just kind of see like
I have never
Katie and
seen
Lala just sitting there, just kind of
so
like.
awkward.
Well, no, they were just kind of like. Yeah, they're just kind of like, yeah, we hear you talking. Like they're doing the listening for, like, we'll tell her later, you know.
They're the like in person Anne.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder, was that truly the first time they saw each other since
Oh,
the reunion?
I doubt it, but
Or spoke, kinda?
I doubt not in real life. You know, I'm sure that that they,
Wow.
but
But
at
it
least
was,
on camera, it was the first time. Like,
you could
yeah,
tell. I mean, I think that was real
mm,
though. Like Sandoval, the way he was like, he kind of tiptoed up to her and was so nice and
oh
like,
yeah.
can we talk? Yeah, my lawyers is so great.
But it was also sort of this moment too. I think in the episode when it was kind of like, all right, you understand. Like I felt, anyways, that okay, yeah, like this basically is kind of over as a main storyline, right?
Yeah,
Like it felt like,
wrap it up.
yeah, look, who fucking cares anymore?
Let's
Like,
talk about Sheena and
yeah,
Schwartz,
we've
man.
been talking about this shit for a year. Like,
Yeah.
shit or get off the pot. Like, so yeah, then I think we get to the next day, right?
Well, the one thing, like when Katie and Sheena were talking, and
Mm-hmm.
you were saying that you could see the wheels turning.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that she said, and I got so pissed, right? I don't know why. She goes, "No, no, no, not a makeout." Just like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, you fucking bitch. You
Well,
fucking bitch. If I were drunk Katie, I would have probably punched her right
okay,
in the
yeah, because
face.
well, what? So all right, so she wasn't making out with Schwartz. What she said is that Schwartz basically physically and sexually assaulted her.
Well, yeah,
He
but
grabbed her and pulled her in and forced the kiss on her.
yeah, I don't believe that for a second. But what made me mad was Katie was being completely vulnerable with her.
Mm-hmm.
And she was just pushing her feelings aside and I don't know. Yeah, I'm back on, yeah, I'm not happy with Sheena at all. But go ahead. Now we can move on. I'm sorry.
Okay.
No, no, no. Not a makeout. Not a makeout. So she knew exactly what Katie was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when she was playing stupid. And then she's like, "Oh, you mean you must be when my sister had the competition." She's like, "I made out with Ariana." And I was just like, "So what?" Like, but you made out with Schwartz in private.
Yeah, it's
I don't know.
yeah. Um. So, anyways, we get to the next day. Lala, DJ James Kennedy, and Shiz are sitting around having breakfast, I guess.
Oh my god. And Lala in this scene is, I'm sorry, but she is distractingly beautiful. Like whatever she's doing from her skin to her body to her face, like get me in touch with your doctors, girl. Like she's had plastic
I
surgery,
feel
but
the
it's
same way.
done. Oh god.
But I just need more bronzer, probably.
No, I think men get better with age for some reason.
I should start spray tanning.
Don't, please. Your beard.
Hmm? Oh, it would be the same color as my. If I had like a Trump spray tan, it would be the exact same color as my beard. How fucking weird would that be?
It would suck. I would, and then you could go around the house talking in your radio voice. That'd be great. You'd have to come up with a radio persona name.
So
Okay.
then we're gonna go. I don't know what these guys are talking about. This is where we find out that Tom's dog tore up the house and got into some medication and
No,
died.
some stuff.
Some stuff.
Yeah.
And it just always happens, and that dog is just such a pain in the ass.
Yeah, and well, they were talking about Lala says she wants to invite them to go to the water sommelier. And I know you think it's some LA bullshit, but I'd rather go water tasting than wine tasting because I can tell the difference between waters. And you go water tasting, you could just smoke weed and you don't have a hangover. I would get a hangover off my second tasting of that wine,
Yeah,
but I'd still go.
no, I just think it's more of a sign of the times more than anything. Like what bigger sign of like
I
late stage capitalism can you get where you're actually having connoisseurs of clean water?
but
Oh, I'm gonna
I
go find some nice clean water and sample it because everybody else is basically drinking fucking mud.
but now that we have children, as a
Mm-hmm.
parent, I it's nice to see that there are a lot of people making sobriety cool. Because in our day, it was sex, drugs, and rock and roll,
Oh yeah,
right? Like smoking was cool, drinking was cool, drugs were, like it was all cool. Let's do it
yeah.
till the wheels fall off. Or you have to call your parents from Arizona to come pick you up because you're having hallucinations. Don't know who that would be. Okay, so yeah, that's about it there. And then
Uh,
well, no. Yeah, they're talking about the house again, I think.
uh, well then, yeah. Well, they're talking about that. Were they talking about the house?
Yeah, how he's trying to make it easier on
Oh
Ariana.
yeah, oh yeah. And then I just remember like
And then he invites her to the breathing expert.
oh yeah, and if he says that, and yeah, that's what I wrote down. If he says the word guided meditation again, I will shat.
I told you
I will shat right on a couch.
he's doing these things to look like on film to look like, but I think that I just love Lala this season. She's so well spoken. She's like, I don't know if I'm ready if I'm there yet with you, but can I sleep on it? Because I don't know. Lala is being such a voice of reason this season. I'm loving Lala on
Yeah.
on all sides.
Yeah.
But then we go,
Oh yeah. I hope they. Oh, then back to the sandwich shop.
oh, really?
Yeah.
Because I thought we went to the breathing expert first, or when Tom's doing his breath.
Wait, where's that?
And then I have the sandwich shop. The sandwich shop is
Oh,
last.
okay.
Because we go to Tom's house and he's with that breathing expert.
Mm-hmm.
And I have written down that man is going to send someone to the hospital with a heart attack. Those breaths, those. If you can't breathe, what if you're asthmatic?
Oh, okay, there we go. Oh, here.
And then and then also I have written down, I knew Tom was a crier after sex because he explains it as like an orgasm, a dry orgasm,
Yeah.
the way it feels. But at the end of it, remember he was crying, and so I was like, I knew that man cried after sex.
It's very well because I don't believe it's anything like.
What was it for?
I don't know. That's what I wrote down. Bananas and avocado toast. I'd try it.
Oh yeah, that sounded disgusting.
What the fuck kind of guided meditation is this?
Breathing.
Yeah. So here's the thing, and especially with stuff about talking about how it makes you feel. Like in
how what makes you feel? What
like your meditative states that you attain
through breathing?
Yes.
I've done meditate, but not like that. I mean, this is
well,
different.
no, but what I'm saying is that talking about it and trying to explain this transcendent thing that you experience
isn't the point.
It's not the point.
No.
It's not this egoic sort of like grand self grandeur where you're like, look what I did. I
Yeah.
had a dry orgasm on my floor and now I'm spiritually enlightened. Let's talk outside.
Yeah,
That's, you know what I mean?
oh,
Like,
Lala, I'm glad you got to witness that for yourself.
yeah, it's so, I mean, I guess coming from like a Buddhist perspective, it's something that looks very disingenuous. I mean, of course it is. You've explained that, but I'm just saying, like, I'm kind of seeing it from this lens of like, this is something that I've
Well, yeah, I also have Phil
studied a
is
long time.
going to hate this. No, but
Why did I write
that
down Oompa Loompas?
they went outside.
Yeah, and then I wrote down Oompa Loompas.
Oompa Loompas.
Oh, because you said that you would love the backyard, and I said
Oh,
I would
yeah.
love the gardeners that tended that backyard to do the landscaping in our yard. And then I'm like, yeah, like why come they don't ever on these shows show like the the gardeners and the people that are probably illegal immigrants, right?
I
That
think
are like,
they do.
and if you're
At
not, I apologize. I'm making stereotypical assumptions about California. I live in
we
Montana.
think you
That's what we
should be
do.
able to work.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah, you're treated kind of like the Oompa Loompas, right? Like you just work in the background and
Yeah,
you
we
know.
forget. Yeah. No, but and in this scene again, I love Lala because she does get an apology from Tom because she's asking for one that she deserves. She is not asking for him to apologize about the affair.
Mm-hmm.
That's not her bed. She doesn't have to lie in it. And she gets it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'm talking about. I don't this and again, this is the Tom. I remember to say Maya, but I start to like Tom because he isn't unreasonable when you're coming at him for like you hurt me in this way. This is why.
Yeah.
And he said, "I'm sorry for that." And he's like, "I really am." And I believed him.
Well, and I think this is, yeah, you start to get a little sympathy for Tom and maybe start to see a little bit of growth. And maybe it's because they pile it on top of this fucking bullshit guided meditation thing where now it's all like,
Actually, I think it backfired on him. If that's what he was going for, was a sympathy or like to get the audience to like that, it backfired because he looked like a fool.
yeah,
It looked staged.
well, like I mean, I guess when it's sort of that, and for me, it's like that's like the whole thing, like they say in the Bible, right? Don't, when you pray, go into your closet, shut your door, don't fucking, make a big deal about.
That's why as Catholics we go to the priest inside a closet one-on-one,
Yeah, right.
quietly.
And so it's that same principle of like not going around and like talking about these high meditative states that you attained, right? It's sort of the same.
You
it's
can't
the same,
explain it.
Yeah, but it's the same principle, right? Like,
but if
it's performative.
But if you come to some kind of decision that you've been meditating on for a few months and you want to share that, or you come to an idea or something that you've been a business decision, that's what you talk about, months after you've been doing it and you've come to but no, if you're talking about what it's like after you've done those breathing exercises and to feel like your breath being taken away or what I'm trying to explain, you can't you got to do it for yourself because I think it's probably different. It's whatever.
He's the to me it looks like he's the South Park version of what's his name, the Australian actor Mel Gibson.
Oh.
He's like the Mel Gibson character, just running around twisting his nipples all the time. Ooh, torture me, torture me.
No, but also I thought if that were me and I had that guy do that for me, like the end of it when you get your breath like that and it's really racing and you scream and you let it all out and it isn't performative, it's just you and that magic.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I bet that feels so good. I bet that feels so good. You probably feel 20 pounds lighter. You probably got to skip to your step. You can probably whistle a little bit. It just probably feels just so freeing. I want to do it, but just for me, not for the podcast, not for you. Not, I want to be completely alone because I don't want anyone to hear that shit because I want to scream.
Oh, I'm sure you can probably find some YouTube videos that will guide you through all that kind of.
Yeah, but I have
breath
tachycardia.
work.
I don't want my heart to go into shock. Anyway,
Well,
now.
you know what you should do? If
What?
you just want to scream, you can go watch the Eras tour on Disney with the kids, and they will you guys can scream.
I know,
you can
but
do
I
before
want
and
to.
after TikTok.
I want to be on the brink of a dry orgasm, don't you know?
Well, if you want to scream like that, well, why does it got to be a dry one? Let's pause
hint,
this.
Hint. No.
All right, everybody, and we're back. How you feeling, honey?
Great. We're finally where you've been trying to get us for the last hour. The sandwich shop.
No, I think I had more to say, though.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Oh, no, I didn't. We're in the sandwich shop. And I think the only thing that happened there is everybody was like, why are we still fucking doing the sandwich shop?
Oh, my favorite part was when they were bringing out the sandwiches and DJ James Kennedy's all, when do we get to the mamwich? We all know Schwartz loves a sloppy Joe.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone was I think they it took them a second and then they all got it and they were kind of quiet. And then they laughed. It was great. Not calling Joe sloppy, but because just giving Schwartz some shit. I thought that was cute.
Yeah.
But then basically, they're tasting the same exact sandwiches they did for the first finale before we found out about Scandival. The first finale they had in the books. Yeah. They had a sandwich tasting but when they did the sandwich tasting the first time, they didn't have the space decorated at all. It was a construction site.
Why did they do it again? Are they really that hard up for good ideas that they actually have to recycle old ideas? That's kind of what, is that just lazy filmmaking? Like, what the fuck is that all about?
I think, yeah. Well, they have to have a reason to get everyone together, I guess.
But shit, they can.
And apparently, I don't know all the deets, but people can Google it or they might already know it. There's something about her. That Chef Penny. Apparently, she has taken the something about her name and licensed it herself, and she took all the recipes, and I guess she's gonna start I don't know, there's a little bit of a something going on. I'm gonna look further into it. I just heard about it. So
well, I guess if she's, and I don't know the whole story, my assumption is that as far as the work, Chef Penny was probably doing most of it. And
well, yeah,
if you're getting all of this promotion with this name and everything with this sandwich shop through this show, but you got these two people who aren't necessarily committed to what you're doing.
Yeah, see, I think it's shitty that she took the name. I think if she brought them the recipes, take it, because these girls, Katie isn't doing it, Ariana isn't doing it, and if she wants, she could have opened a Chef Penny's and people would have known. If you know something about her, you would have known Chef Penny. And Chef Penny's is a cute name for a sandwich shop. Yeah. Well, don't you think? You could have sandwiches and tea cakes or like.
Well, it'd be interesting to know more backstory.
Yeah, it will. There. But anyway, Lala and Ariana have a convo, and I think that what Ariana needs most is for people to quit telling her they've had talks with Tom.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, you can
Like,
go and have a relationship with Tom. You don't have to fucking talk to Ariana about it.
no, it's like they're asking for forgiveness,
Mhm.
before she watches the show. It's like,
But,
I had before you watch the show, I had a conversation with Tom. Don't be mad at me.
well, but you know what I mean? Like, it's not just that, because they also live in a, it's not just the show, it's the paparazzi, it's everything, right? Like, if if Ariana, or not Ariana, but like if Lala is seen out at a cafe with Tom one day and they're having a conversation, um, then that's likely to end up on fucking Twitter or
Oh
Instagram.
yeah, just
Or
like that picture
so,
with
I mean, they're
Sheena.
constantly having to explain, like, you might see something about this, and I want
Well,
to get
in
out in
this,
front of it right now.
but
And
in
I had a
this case,
productive conversation with Tom.
no, but in this case, it did make sense
Mhm.
because Ariana said, "What's up?" or whatever, and Lala goes, "I'm just coming from your house," and she goes, "My house," and that's when we find out the truth about Maya,
Mhm.
which is, take it away because I'll get too heated. I love dogs.
I don't exactly know as far as what Tom. I got kind of confused with all the details of this. From what I understand,
Yeah, I
Tom had
was
said
really
something
confused
about,
too.
I'm not sure how their setup is, but he'd left some door open or something that shouldn't have been left open. The dog got into some place he shouldn't have been to
Oh,
and
okay.
got
Then
into
I
some
know. Okay.
stuff, and the dog almost died, and it cost
Okay,
$6,000,
what
and he's
happened
not to be
was
trusted.
Ariana. Okay, so there something was up with the air conditioning. So he went into Ariana's room to fiddle with the vents, or the air conditioner
Mm.
person did, whatever. Tom let Maya in there and locked her in, and Ariana had some kind of chicken left out from the night before. It had something that was toxic
Mm.
to dogs, and
Or
Maya
even like
got.
onions can be toxic to
Oh,
dogs, right? Like,
really?
yeah.
I didn't know that. Okay, so maybe that even. But
But
he locked Maya in that room,
mm,
and Ariana said she barely got there in time. And
chicken. Is there a,
it was
is it
like
like,
Thai food or,
because if there was something with raisins in it,
well, I don't
yeah,
know.
but whatever, it was toxic to
It was.
dogs, yeah. So,
And I get it, but part of me is like, with kids, we got to make sure, like, if anybody brings chocolate into the
mm,
house, I make sure that chocolate never gets set down where the dogs can reach it.
well, yeah.
Never. If I see chocolate or raisins or anything, grapes, anything like that, I pick it up. Like, if I had a dog I loved if I had any dog, I would not let anything poisonous be within its reach. I don't know what Ariana had that chicken left out for. I mean, I'm not trying to judge. And
Yeah, I mean, shit happens. I mean, our dogs, we keep the dangerous shit away
and
from
you
them,
know
but
what's
I don't have any socks left because
you
they've
know
eaten all my
how I
socks.
had that conspiracy theory that, and now, I mean, I don't really believe it. I think I was thinking that maybe they really are together and that's why they are living under the same house, and this is a good storyline. I don't really think that. But I mean, because she doesn't seem at all pissed that Tom opened the door to her room.
Yeah.
But maybe that's because the dog thing
Well, that's what
overshadows
I mean.
everything.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, are they talking? They're living together. They must be talking a little bit. There's still shit that goes on where they're like, you know,
I don't know.
houses have issues, and you got to do things, and you're gonna have to communicate those things to each other. My guess is there's a lot of shit that Tom does in that house.
It's funny you said Tim because on Reddit, that's what they call him, Tim.
But I mean, like, yeah, there's probably lots of shit that he's the guy that changes the light bulbs and does those little things. And I'm not trying to be sexist. I'm just saying that
His assistant does. His assistant changes the light bulbs and makes sure there is tape in the
Yeah.
drawers.
Well,
Tape
she's not
and
always there, obviously, or she
well,
or
no, she's
Anne could
been
have.
in New York a
Yeah.
lot.
Okay, but anyways, so
Yeah, that's when it snapped me back into not liking Tom. But now I don't know. God, I'm such a. I don't know.
well, I mean, Lala, you see in Lala's perspective, and then you're
Yeah.
brought right back in Ariana's perspective, which is valid too, right? Like, yeah, oh yeah, like and that's what you're saying. Like, we don't have to talk to Ariana about your interactions with Tom because Ariana has a completely different view of Tom that's never going to change.
Okay, as somebody who has a best friend,
Mm-hmm. You're saying I don't?
no, because these people, no, I'm talking about these
Yeah,
Vanderpump people because they refer to everyone as their best
yeah, the
friend.
ride or die.
Like in high school, I had a best friend, and I'm gonna take it back to there because that's how these people communicate. If it were my best friend, like best friend, the way Sheena refers
Mm-hmm.
to Ariana, I'm taking my best friend's side. I'm never talking to her ex again. I have no reason to. Like there's really no reason.
Mm-hmm.
I I hate that saying, but no, I am completely 100% on my best friend's side.
Yeah.
I am loyal to a fault. Not even to a fault. My best friend would it was my best friend for a reason. My best friend never let me and I feel like she had my back in the same way.
Yeah.
But like I have a group of friends that I'm loyal to. The same way I feel Schwartz was loyal to Ariana and Tom. I understand why he didn't tell Ariana. I understand why Ariana's pissed that he didn't, but I mean I understand why he was more loyal to Tom Sandoval.
Well, yeah.
And I understand that. Like it or hate it, but
Well, and and that's just
that's human nature.
what's human nature, and it's also, but I mean, it's also, I would say, a good friend doesn't put another friend in that position.
Exactly.
And I think that's Ariana's position. I think Ariana's like, you call him your friend, but is he really your friend?
Yeah.
Because she was in love with him,
Right.
and he told her that he was in love with her.
So much so they bought a
So
multi-million home
yeah, so I
together.
understand you have a deep relationship with Tom Sandoval. So did I.
They froze eggs.
Yeah,
Thank goodness
you
they
know what I
didn't.
mean. So it's just like, yeah, I can, you got to kind of look at it from Ariana's perspective. It's like, yeah, you're best friends. So fucking what? We were gonna spend the rest of our lives together. You know.
They have the longest running relationship on the show, other than Tom Schwartz and Katie.
Hmm.
But like for our Sheena, she's on her second husband of the show. Like we watched the engagement of her first we watched the courtship and
Hmm.
engagement and marriage of her first husband and then divorce and then her dating and I'm not shaming her for any of that, but this was a marriage for all intensive purposes.
Well, and it was good. They were gonna get to have their fairy book wedding on television, and this restaurants were gonna open,
Oh, I
and
don't know if Tom and Ariana would have ever gotten married.
you don't think
That was
so?
the one thing. Ariana never wanted marriage, but she might have. Like, I think if Tom would have said, I need to be married and I want a family, she would have. Because she went and froze eggs for him just in case.
They could have been the next Lisa Vanderpump and
And Ken Todd.
Ken Todd, and I
Yeah,
think
I think, well, they were a brand, you know. I
mm,
mean, it was kind of, there was not one without the other for the
yeah.
show. They were always together. But anyway, yeah,
So,
Lisa and Ken are.
oh yeah, so Lisa and Ken show up. So then we get to
Oh no, but when they were talking about Maya, that was when my brain
mm,
shifted, and I was like, "That's the point when I'm out of there." I have a hotel and I'm waiting for an apartment to open up with my dog.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway,
So then we get to
Lisa and Ken.
Lisa and Ken, and
They're told about
they're talking about the
Sheena and Shizzle.
well,
Or what are you calling him?
Yeah, but first they're talking about the
Shiz.
sandwich shop because Lisa's got, because she's basically like, what the fuck are you guys doing? Like, Lisa's tired of hearing about the sandwich shop too. She's like,
let's have some goat cheese balls at Sir, because that used to be the thing. Goat cheese balls at Sir. Sounds delicious right now.
But you know what I mean? Like, Lisa's a serious businesswoman, and she's seeing this unserious
business venture. Yeah.
And she's just kind of like, sandwiches? Like, you're sitting there with paying rent on a building and you're not making any money? And
she's like, sure, bring your sandwiches into my restaurant where I serve food. Sure, I'll take a sandwich right here where I'm having dinner and drinks with my husband.
And yeah. And so anyways, so Lisa kind of squashes that talk really quick. And she's like, well, I heard that. And then she was like, yeah, I heard something about you and Shiz and Sheena or something. And
oh, yeah. She loves to stir she and Ken like to stir the pot a little bit. It's so cute. And then Schwartz sloppily brings over those drinks. And Lisa gives him shit.
Well, see, but that's the thing we get the flashback to Tom and Katie's little confrontation before, which must have happened the night before. No, actually, I think it was the same night.
It said like 2 hours earlier, or it might have been at the sandwich shop, like in the kitchen part.
And that scene, that flashback scene looked really
was
forced.
Not
she didn't
flipping out. She was asking him about the events that took place.
I think you're right. I don't think she gave a shit about Tom making out with Sheena. She gave a shit about Sheena making out with Tom, and she wanted to get to the bottom of that.
Yeah. That's how I feel. I don't know.
Yeah. And so...
But that's how I think girls in general work, because we're used to men fucking up our shit, fucking up our world. When we trust a girl, like when we bring a girl into it, that's how I operate anyway. When I bring and trust a girl, it's different. I expect for our friendship to mean something, to be sacred, whatever. Like, if a girl is willing to screw me over in that way, by being physical with my significant other, that hits in a completely different way than my significant other
I think that
cheating on me.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think that
my girlfriend cheating on me is different than my boyfriend cheating on me. It hurts in a different way. It's such an emotional.
Well, and I think it gets into a lot of,
like, you knew my personal shit. Like, were you using it as a playbook to get to him?
Yeah, and it's not even that. It's just like, the most sort of disrespectful thing that you could do to a person, right? Like,
it really is.
It's like saying, well, I mean, that's the whole thing with these people, right? Like, it's, Rachel sitting there smiling in Ariana's face while she's fucking Tom. And it's,
Or when Rachel, because you didn't see that episode, it was the first finale, when she goes up to her and she's like, so are you sexually attracted to him? It was psychopathic. Lisa at the reunion, she's like, yeah, I never seen anything like that. How could you go up to the woman whose boyfriend you're shagging and ask that? That's what Lisa has said. I mean, she was like gobsmacked. But anyway, we get to like,
well, yeah, but maybe she was more towards hinting like, because I could take care of you there.
No, but like,
because didn't she want to be in a throuple?
Well, yeah, Rachel did because she said, "I loved Ariana."
I mean, I've
And I
just kind of seen it from her perspective. Like from her perspective, that conversation might have been about something completely else. You know what I mean?
No,
Like,
she's copped to it that it
yeah,
was not that it was in
yeah.
poor taste. But anyway, eventually we get to Brock and Tom talking. Did I
So
miss something?
yeah, so there wasn't a lot of Brock in this episode, but then once we get some Brock, we get some fucking Brock. He's like, yeah, just bring in a baseball bat for the whole
Oh my
goddamn
God, the
storyline.
House of Cards.
Yeah.
Like, but I did disagree with him when he was like, well, not that he said everybody's being hypocritical, but he didn't understand his wife was being the biggest hypocrite of them all.
Well, that's what I'm curious about. When are we gonna get to see Brock hearing about? Well, I guess he probably wouldn't give a
Because
shit
like
because it was before they were even together.
I
But
don't know that it was a. I guess it was a revenge bang, but is Katie that type? And if it was a revenge bang, Katie would have been. I guess she must have told Sheena though, or did Max tell Sheena? I don't know how they found out.
so they were at. We don't know.
Oh yeah, and this is another I'm so confused moment because when Tom says Max is his very best friend. I was like, "What? I thought Tom was your best friend."
Well,
I'm so
and I don't even
confused.
know who Max is really, but I
Oh,
do.
you missed
Yeah.
the worst season of Vanderpump Rules history, so you're lucky.
Well, yeah,
But
because the only thing that Brock tells Schwartz, he's like, well, they were at, we were at the Ziggy's or whatever,
Hotel
and
Ziggy,
yeah,
I'll
and
never
then
forget.
yeah, and everybody gets ready to leave, and they kind of leave together, and Sheena is checking Max's location, and he's at Katie's house, and
Isn't that psychotic behavior, that location checking?
well, I don't know. I mean, people obviously you can allow people to check your location, so maybe that's something friends groups do, right? Like,
But to actually do it to people that don't really matter, Max and Schwartz and Katie?
well, if you're tracking all your friends just because it's like a social media sort of a thing, right? Like, um, and you guys
You
are.
don't think this is weird. Even her friends think it's weird.
Here's what I don't think it's. I think it's weird that Max allows Sheena to check his.
They hooked up during that
Okay.
season too, I think.
Okay, so Max obviously allows Sheena to check in his location. That's weird, granted.
Unless it's just everybody who has an eye. I don't know.
But you're at a party and two of your friends who you don't suspect of ever getting together walk off together and disappear together.
Well,
And
I
you
think
have the
they're all
ability to
friends.
check their location. You might be a little curious and being like, you're sitting there going, oh, well,
I guess, like, and I don't
holy
even.
shit, Max is over at Katie's house. Like,
Maybe, but
how would you not? That's my question.
Okay, if I'm the type to check the location, maybe, or definitely, but I don't even know how to do that. Or I don't think my life is boring. It's super boring. But I'm still far too busy to check on people's location. But I guess they have completely different lives than
Yeah,
I
like
do.
I
But
live where I live because I want to be away from people. I think
yeah,
if you live in the city, you want to be connected to people.
but anyway, you were talking about she checked their location
And then the only other thing that we find out is that he texted Brock just basically a cheese face or something, right? Kind of like a emoji of, and so from that, Brock is assuming that, they fucked, but I don't know if there's actually if we know that's necessarily true.
but the location would tell us that
They were
spent
together.
the night.
They spent the night. That doesn't mean they necessarily had sex.
But
Well, yeah.
Katie
I mean,
doesn't deny it.
I don't know these people, so
I don't know, but Tom Sandoval comes in looking like Woody from Toy Story, and he brings in tea because they went on a bowling date.
Oh, and it was like a theme bowling night sort of a thing where
Yeah, but he totally.
70s pimp.
Yeah, but I thought he looked like if you put a cowboy hat on him, he looks like Woody from Toy
Oh no, I
Story.
thought he needed a feather in his hat. He totally would have been like, 70s pimp style.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interchangeable.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. But he excused himself, and then the girls go up for water, and Ariana, she's really actually kind of nice to
Well, I
the
just thought it
tea.
was funny that,
She's like,
Brock introduces him
mm-hmm.
and he's just got this shit eating grin on his
Oh, I know.
like Brock's all about just starting shit. Like
He
he's
truly
just
is.
like his whole that's what Brock is just starting shit this episode.
Yeah, he was top tier for
But
me.
he's like, hey girls, meet T.
And he did.
And then
He
he
did
walks
shove her
off.
toward. And then Ariana's like, "How old are you?" And she's 25. And in my head, I'm just like, "Yep, that tracks."
Yeah.
Because he needs some. But I don't know if it's her makeup or the way she dressed. She looked as old as Ariana and Sheena, or who was at the bar with her.
Well, yeah, I mean, these women living in California aren't aging freaking,
Yeah, because of their.
Yeah, like they're all plastic. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like it's all plastic surgery and skincare and all that other shit. Everybody's doing the same thing.
Yeah.
So they look the same.
Yeah. But Sheena confronts Brock.
Mm-hmm.
Or,
Yes.
She is pissed because she got called out on her. She shouldn't have opened her big fat mouth. That's why I think Max must have told her or something, because she's seeming guilty. Like she didn't want Brock to disclose this information because she's working on her friendship with Katie.
She checked the location, and then Brock was probably like, "Hey, dude, what's going on? You over at Katie's?" And he sends her back this emoji.
Yeah.
And so they both know the same information, and so Sheena's pissed that Brock is actually talking about it.
Yeah, I know, but
and Brock's pissed that Sheena's pissed.
Well, yeah, like don't tell me this good stuff if you don't want me to repeat it. And then she goes back to the table and she's crossing her arms and what's wrong? Brock, she gives Brock the worst looks ever, and he is so sweet. I like Brock.
Well, no, because he comes in and everybody's sitting around the table and he points at it. He's like, "You're doing this and you're doing this," and then.
But in his jolly way.
Yeah, and he's like, "You're all a bunch of fucking hypocrites," and then that kind of leads us into Lala at the end going, "Okay, this is going on. This is going on. This is going on. These fucking people are all crazy, and I am out."
She didn't say this, but I wrote it down because, it was like, cut, and I was just like, Lala. Lies. That's all lies. That's basically what she's saying. And
it's funny too, though, because this is the first time where I'm actually looking forward to the next week.
Really?
Yeah.
Yay.
Like I've just been kind of, watching. I'm like, okay. I mean, it's pretty predictable sort of what's coming next. We're going to
but
blah,
sometimes
blah, blah, go to Tahoe and go do this and blah, blah, blah. And then finally it's like, I don't know what's going to happen in the next episode.
No.
Now I'm kind of curious.
Yeah, it's exciting. And so this is reminiscent of seasons past where, you have these major jaw-dropping moments, like that you do not see coming. But when Brock was blowing up Katie's spot, or talking about, and Sheena was mad Katie didn't argue with it, so she must have hooked up with him. But I
think Katie's sitting there just going like, but that's what I mean. She didn't argue. I think she's just sitting there going, wait a second, like, how the fuck do you guys know what I was doing last night. Like,
Yeah, like how did I get brought into this?
yeah, and like, no, that's what I mean. Like, she's not denying it, but she's not confirming it either. Like, I don't think
Yeah,
I
we
don't.
haven't seen enough.
Yeah, all we have is speculation from Brock and Sheena at this point, and Katie standing around looking like this. A few cutscenes of her going, So I mean, who knows? We'll find
Yeah.
out more about what really went down.
Yeah, but I mean, I think, yeah, I was so confused out so much this episode, and it was great. We're back. But I think and because it's most fresh in my mind, one of the more confusing things was how close Schwartz said he was to Max.
Mm-hmm.
Because I guess I didn't even notice that during the season because he and Sandoval are so tethered.
Right,
And
on
I
the
think,
show anyway.
yes, that's
right.
what I mean. And I think that may have, if that were the season that they opened Tom Tom, then Tom and Tom would have very much been highlighted as a dynamic duo. And or no matter what season, where you have one, you have the other. But yeah, because he's like that's my best friend. So
not anymore.
That hurts.
Mm-hmm.
That's
because Brock was the one. Because Sheena was the one getting all pissed off, and Brock was like, "Fuck that! Like your best friend does that to you. Like I'm gonna look out for my friends." You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
because that would be worse than Raquel and Sandoval. Because Raquel was a friend of Ariana's. She wasn't her best friend. We need to you want to cut out ride or die. I want to cut out best friend.
Well, I mean,
there shouldn't be a hierarchy.
But
I have a group of close friends. My closest.
But still, within your group of close friends, you probably
have your.
But you probably shouldn't date around in that group with expectations of everything just being hunky-dory all the time if you do that.
No. Like, it's gonna.
But then again, these people thrive off of chaos and conflict.
And drama, and thank God for them.
Mm-hmm.
And their drama. Because, yay, you're getting into it. Should we wrap it up? Oh, and it is a voting year. So I encourage everyone to get out and vote. It's really important. I try not to get political, but it is important to vote. And speaking of vote, smash that like.
And subscribe.
And tell a friend.
Share on all your social medias.
Have a good one. We love you.
Bye.